You cannot both sides a genocide. You cannot both sides occupation and ethnic cleansing. You cannot describe people who are resisting occupation and ethnic cleansing and genocide. You can't describe them as being on an equal footing with those who are occupying and who are ethnically cleansing and who are genociding. They are two different groups of people. One of the occupiers, the genociders, the ethnic cleansers, and one of those who are resisting that. And it doesn't matter whether those who are resisting the occupation and ethnic cleansing and genocide are Muslims or brown or Arab. It makes no difference. You should still tell the truth about them. And if you can't tell the truth about them, then why are you a journalist? That's my question. That's what I want to know. Do you know how Hezbollah came into being? It came into being the last time in the early 1980s that Israel marched into Lebanon and occupied it and began ethnically cleansing it. People are allowed to resist their occupation. And if you are judging those people because they're Arab, because they're Muslim, or because they are brown, if you think that they should be subservient to the people doing the occupation and the ethnic cleansing, because the people doing the occupation and the ethnic cleansing are Jewish, and if you think that Jewish people should be held to a different standard to the rest of humanity, then we have a problem. Because the truth is, Israel has been held to a different standard from the moment that it was born. The world quite literally, the Western world quite literally stood there and let them ethnically cleanse and genocide the Palestinian people in 1948. They knew what was happening, they knew what they were doing, they could see what they were doing, and they stood by and let it happen. They allowed Israel to do that on the basis that it was reparations for the Holocaust, as if the Palestinians had been responsible for the Holocaust. There were no concentration camps in Palestine. In fact, many Jewish people had fled to Palestine in the late 1930s and the early 1940s. And Palestinians had welcomed them with open arms and opened up their homes to them. There were no concentration camps anywhere in the Arab world. During the pogroms across Eastern Europe in the late 1800s and early 1900s, many Jewish people were welcomed in to the Ottoman Empire and given a safe home. And yet Israel was allowed to commit ethnic cleansing as reparations. And having been allowed to do that once, they decided any time they wanted extra land, any time they wanted to achieve any geopolitical ambition, Syria, the Golan Heights, for example, they would march in, occupy, ethnically cleanse, and the world has allowed them to do it because they're being held to a different standard to everybody else. And that has to end now. We can all see it now. And it's time for the Western media to tell the truth. Maybe tell the truth about the Jews who resisted Zionism from the moment of Zionism's inception. The Jewish Bund. The working class Jews who resisted Zionism on the grounds that this would be the outcome. The Orthodox Torah Jews who resisted Zionism because it went against their religion, because it violates completely what the Torah says about why they're not allowed back into Jerusalem, into the Holy Land. Because of this, because of exactly what they're doing now. Because of the violence, because of the death, because of the killings. Because that's how they sustain themselves. So that's how they sustain itself as a society. Zionism is a toxic political ideology. Zionism is a racist political ideology, and it's time people told the truth. It's time Western media got over its own chauvinism and told the truth. And you could start there with the historical resistance to it by Jewish people, the Bund, the Orthodox Jews, the Torah Jews. Or you could start simply by telling the truth about what Israel did from the moment that it was born, with the Nakba. Start with maybe the story of the Stern Gang and similar groups who later became the IDF. Terrorist groups, literal terrorist groups who later became the IDF. and IOF. And what they did. I am tired of the lie that Western media perpetuates, that the Palestinians and the Lebanese and who are occupied and ethnically cleansed by the Israelis are somehow equally culpable in what happens. That it's simply not true. They resist. They're allowed to resist. They have every right to resist. All right, think of it this way. A few thousand years ago, this country was occupied by the Roman Empire. It had its capital city for a little while, was based in Camulodunum, as it was called, or Colchester, as it's called now, and various groups of people resisted it. Most famously, Boudica, who herded them into its Roman temple and burnt them all to the ground. So let's imagine that a couple of boatloads of Italian military show up, go up to London, because that's the capital city now, and say, yeah, we used to occupy this country and we're reclaiming it now, and everybody out or we'll kill you, and give us all your house keys, they're ours now. Because I'm sure that the very first thing that you do is reach for your house keys and say, yeah, sure, mate, just give me a minute to shove everything into a van. Here's the keys. Happy for you to have it. Here you go. That would be the first thing that you do, isn't it? Yeah, no, I don't think so. You'd be calling up Boudica out of her grave. There are not two sides to an occupation. There are the occupiers and the occupied. There's not two sides to an ethnic cleansing. There are those who do the ethnic cleansing, and there are those who are ethnically cleansed. Stop victim blaming. Stop trying to pretend that somehow the Arab countries, the Muslim people, the Arab Christians, the Arab Druze, stop trying to act as if they're somehow equally culpable in their own occupation and in their own ethnic cleansing and in their own genocides. Let's stop pretending that they're equally culpable in that, because they're not. If you cannot tell the truth as a journalist, what are you doing? Why are you a journalist?